Seems like a lot of clouds came out today. It almost looks like it could rain any second, although on the other side, it looks like it's blue skies. And with that in mind, what did I read today? How about this one? It seems like it's that story that's continuing where Ukraine bombed Russia with a bunch of drones called Operation Spiderweb, and it seems like they're releasing even more videos of them actually carrying this out. Like it says here, SBU shows unique footage of the Pavlina special operation which resulted in the destruction of 41 Russian strategic aviation aircraft. This operation is one of the most significant in the history of SBU special operations, demonstrating the high level of professionalism and coordination of Ukrainian special services. As a result of meticulously planned actions, the SBU managed to strike critical Russian military infrastructure, significantly weakening the enemy's strategic aviation capabilities. The released video showcases key moments of the operation, including precise strikes on Russian aircraft. These actions disrupted the operational capacity of the Russian Federation's strategic aviation, which plays a crucial role in their military strategy. The SBU emphasizes that the Pavlina operation is a testament to Ukraine's ability to conduct complex and effective operations against a numerically superior enemy. The destruction of 41 aircraft not only inflicted significant material losses, but also dealt a powerful blow to the morale of the Russian military. That may be true, but again, they probably want retaliation, so with that in mind, no end in sight in terms of the war, huh? And in regards to this, it was really fascinating as in terms of what they used to carry out the attack, they apparently used an open source software called ArduPilot. And it was interesting as even the founders, they were saying how they didn't envision this in terms of what their platform would be used for. So ArduPilot is an open source autopilot software platform for controlling autonomous vehicles, including drones, rovers, boats, and submarines, and it provides advanced navigation, flight control, and mission planning capabilities, supporting a wide range of hardware, so it's highly customizable, and it's essentially, again, open source and it's community driven and widely used by hobbyists, research, and commercial applications for controlling autonomous vehicles. Can you imagine that, where someone is using your stuff in war in this case? And you can see some of the reactions from the founders. Like here from Jason Short, it says, "Not in a million years would I have predicted this outcome. I just wanted to make flying robots." Yeah, I can imagine, especially if you're intending just for, let's just say, hobbyists, for example, to use it. And it's interesting in reading the conversations online where people were even saying for drone hobbyists that create their own drones, this was a possibility. And again, when you read some of the founders' messages, like he says here, "We tried to have a, quote, no weaponization TOS in the early days, but it was impossible to police. And over time, I switched my view to wanting to encourage defense use by responsible governments, better, faster, cheaper than the actual defense contractor stuff." And the other person responds saying, "I mean, yes, I knew this was possible, and my only concern at the time were small-time crazies doing a terrorism. I always imagined the big defense companies just replicating it with proprietary systems. I had no idea nation states would use it at scale for defense." How would you react if something you developed was just used in this way and you found out? At the same time, I guess you could say tech is tech. People are going to use it for good and bad. You can't really control it overall in this case, huh? And some other stuff I read that was kind of interesting. Apparently in the US, there were some rules put in place where food manufacturers are going to have to put like a warning label on their products that they're not safe for human consumption. It's something you would expect, for example, in, let's just say, household cleaning products, not in the food that you're eating. Like here it says Doritos and Mountain Dew could carry a new "not recommended for human consumption" warning under landmark Texas bill. A Texas bill on the brink of becoming law would crack down on major food manufacturers, requiring them to label products with warnings about ingredients, quote, "not recommended for human consumption" under the standards of countries other than the US. I guess that's kind of the topic how I mentioned before. There's a lot of actually food products, like really big ones, where the ingredients are completely different in other countries because the items are banned. It says Senate Bill 25 will require US food manufacturers to, beginning in 2027, clearly mark products sold in Texas with warning labels that the foods contain certain ingredients like bleached flour and synthetic food dyes that other countries have prohibited or required warnings for. The legislation would impact major food manufacturers like General Mills, whose brands Pillsbury Toaster Strudel contain bleached flour, as well as PepsiCo, the conglomerate behind Doritos, and Mountain Dew, which contain dyes. The bill also outlines requirements for physical education and nutrition education in schools. The legislation reached the desk of Texas Governor Greg Abbott on Sunday. Of course, there are some companies that aren't happy about this, and it says, in response to the bill, dozens of food manufacturers and distributors wrote a letter on May 19 to the Texas legislature asking it to remove this section of the legislation regarding warning labels. As currently written, the food labeling provision in this bill casts an incredibly wide net, triggering warning labels on everyday grocery items based on assertions that foreign governments have banned such items, rather than on standards established by Texas regulators or by the U.S. Food and Drug Administration, the letter said. I guess the other argument in that regards would be, some people argue, let's just say, organizations like an FDA or whatever in the U.S. where they monitor things like food safety, they're bought out by companies, so that would explain potentially why some countries they allow it and some don't. But in general, what would you think about this? All right, see you guys later.